Hey everybody, it's Julie B, and this is the first video of 2023 and my kind of think out loud and sharing that one time I was something. Today's video is about that one time I was nervous to go to a networking event. Now, for those of you who know me, you're probably going to find that as a surprise because I am a fairly extroverted. I really enjoy being around people. Usually when I go to networking events, I come home and I'm like, if it's an evening event, I usually need a couple of hours to come down from the high of being at a networking event. It's kind of like a runner's high or a performance high. Like you get all those endorphins and all those good feelings going. So I'm a very true extrovert in that way. And when I go to networking events, I love meeting with business owners. And I went to a networking event this week that I was actually nervous to go to. And the reason that I was nervous, and it's the first time that I've gone to a networking event and have introduced myself as something other than a social media consultant, which has been my introduction for pretty much the last 14 years. So now I'm introducing myself as an author, a speaker, and a strategic advisor to business owners and their teams. It's dramatically different than, hey, I'm Julie, I'm a social media consultant. Because there's a lot of things that kind of fall under that new umbrella. And it took me a long time. It took me like a year to figure out exactly what I wanted to say in my initial introduction. And for me, words are really important for me and they're really important for my company. Here at home, we have a phrase that we say, words are good, because communication is how we figure out problems. It's how we relate to one another. It's how we have relationships. And while in the world we live in, we can often edit our words or change our words, for example, on social media posts or on blog posts or in articles and things like that. I always try to have a true intention behind the words I use. Now, in these videos, and I've talked about this before, I tend to get a little rambly because I really am kind of just thinking out loud here. And I do get down and go through tangents, but words are really important. And so I was actually nervous to go to this networking event because I was using new words to introduce myself to business owners, some who have known me for quite a long time, to reintroduce myself. But one of the core values here at TJB, that's my personal brand, we call it TJB behind the scenes for the Julie B, is clarity. So we kind of always start with clarity because I think while confidence and growth are also core values, you have to have clarity in order to have confidence, and you have to have confidence to grow. So I've spent about a year really trying to get the clarity around what it is that I do. And it really is, I'm being a strategic advisor. I don't consider myself a coach. Some people have called me a coach. I guess there is an element to that, but I advise, I give counsel, and I will recommend actions for people to take, for business owners to take. The reality is I've been doing that for a very long time. I've just never stood out and had that be the lead that I, lead with in a conversation. So I went to this networking event, and it wasn't a typical networking event. It was within an organization that I had to actually ask a friend of mine to invite me to it. I actually wanted to see the speaker too, because he is he's an author, and he also was talking about delegating, which is something that I'm always interested in, learning how to do better and be a better delegator. So I was interested in the topic, and I wanted to go to this this networking event because I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be a challenge because I knew the group of individuals or the kinds of people who were going to be in this organization when I showed up to it. And sure enough, I was nervous to go to this networking event. And it was it was a stretch for me. It was out of my comfort zone. It really was, because like I said, I normally not nervous to talk to people, not nervous to do networking. My goal when I go to networking events is to meet or reconnect with 5 people. So whether it's I'm meeting new people or I'm reconnecting with people, I really like to have a mix, which I actually did achieve that goal. I exceeded that goal, but I like to have a mix of reconnecting and new connections. If it's a group that I know, I'm going to, see people I know. But anyways, I was nervous to go in there, and I scheduled it for the first week of the year because I really came into this year with kind of an out of the frying pan and into the fire mentality. I'm going to have that a lot this year. My word of the year is emerge. I'm writing a blog post about that, and I'll eventually share. If you're not subscribed to my email list, definitely subscribe. I'm sending out what I call every week a Be Awesome brief. Big ideas, easy actions that elevate your business, and also sharing some awesomeness that's going on around in the community. Subscribe to that because I think that I'm excited for the new format that we have there, and it's going to help kind of solidify all of these ideas. And I hope that, each week you can take something out of that can help you either take a big idea or find an easy action that can help elevate your business. So anyways, my word for the year is emerge. And the reason that's my word is, honestly, I thought about this last night on my way home. I have not been to an in-person networking event since January of 2020. Or it might have been February. It was either January or February of 2020. It was right before COVID. It was right before all the shutdowns. It was before March of 2020. It's been almost 3 years since I've been to an in-person networking event. Now, I've done a few in-person speaking engagements since then, and I've done a lot of virtual networking, but it's been 3 years since I've done an in-person networking event. And the reason for that was I had, 2020, obviously we know why. And the first part of 2021, obviously we know why. But most of 2021 and 2022 were spent finding confidence in myself and believing in myself. Actually, my word of the year for those 2 years was believe, because I needed to believe in myself. I didn't have the belief that I could do what I'm doing today. So I had to find the confidence. I had to learn to believe in myself. And then, that even continued last year. I got a swung for the fences last year in a lot of ways, and I got a lot of great things going on, but, I also got a lot of no's. So I will continue to need to believe in myself, but I've spent, a good 2.5 years kind of in this bunker in my home office, working on what I was going to do next and who I am and all of these things that I've got going on now. And it was when I finally figured out my 30-second commercial, or it's not even a 30-second commercial. It's just my introduction, basically. When I knew what I was going to say to people, when I knew what I was going to tell people I do, and it went through many iterations through 2022. But when I finally landed on speaker, author, and strategic advisor to business owners and their teams, when I landed on that, I had no more excuses. And so it was time for me to emerge. So this year, I'm emerging, and one of my very first steps in that was to go to a pretty, for some people it would be intimidating, I think, and it was a little bit intimidating for me, to go into a networking event the first week of the year, a hard one, and go in with my goal of meeting and or reconnecting with 5 people, which I met. So I'm putting this out there because I wanted, these moments. This is a real moment of vulnerability for me. The past couple of years have been challenging in a lot of ways. In business, they've been challenging because I've been shifting and changing and doing all these things. but they've also been some of the most rewarding years of my life thus far, in business and personally. So the lesson I'm learning is, you got to believe in yourself, and you got to believe in what you're doing. I mean, obviously that you got to have that clarity, and that confidence that comes with that clarity is so crucial. And, I now know what I'm offering as a service to business owners. I am also looking for paid speaking engagements, and all of those things are still going on. And my book, I get to finally say my book will be available for pre-sale this year. That's exciting. So later this year, you'll be able to pre-sale, pre-purchase it. So I hope you do that, because that will help me out a lot. But I'll talk about that later on in the year. So I don't know. I guess the message today is, do the things that scare you. I mean, obviously, not things that are going to put you in danger or illegal things, right? I'm not talking about doing those types of things, but when it's things like, I don't know, networking events, things that I've done, I live through my own experiences, but, networking events, or submitting for a book, or writing a book, or creating a series on YouTube about something that you don't know if people really care to listen to. I mean, not a lot of people watch this yet. I hope eventually someday to look back at all these videos and people will have watched some of my original ones, and, it'll be fun to look back at. But, I guess what I'm saying is lean into that fear. Fear is sometimes there to protect us. There are sometimes we do need to be fearful, but when it comes to business, when it comes to being a business owner, I think a lot of the things that we are afraid of doing, and a lot of the things that we don't do, actually the worst thing that could happen is not really that bad. So yeah, I think the message today is, obviously get your clarity. And if you need any help finding clarity in anything you're doing in business, whether it's your message, whether it's what you want to be doing, whether it's the services you're offering, whether it's, I mean, heck, even if it's around like numbers, I do have a CPA license. I am fairly well versed in talking people through numbers as well. If you have any, if you're struggling with clarity around anything, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. But you got to get the clarity first. I do think you have to have clarity in order to have confidence. And as long as you've got the clarity, I think having the confidence to go forward in your fears and the things that make you nervous or anxious, do it, because life is short, and we only have so many years to be business owners and have these amazing conversations with other business owners, and these amazing moments in life. And I think business ownership I've done things as a business owner that I know that I would have never done if I had stayed in corporate America, which is pretty awesome. Lean into that fear. Go into the unknown, because usually the very worst, you might fail, but it's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna kill you. You might take a little punch to the pride, but you can get over that, and it just makes you more resilient in the long run. So, which is another core value of ours, resilience. So, I think clarity and confidence, those are things that help set you up for growth. So anyways, this is the story about that one time I was nervous to go to a networking event. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any questions, let me know. Always happy to reach out. And be sure to subscribe to the Be Awesome Brief newsletter. I'll put a link into my into the description below here, so that you can get weekly updates from me. And you can always unsubscribe at any time. Won't hurt my feelings, because I totally understand. But I think most people find that helpful. So anyways, I'm signing off for the week. Have a good weekend, and I will be back next week with more behind the scenes.